talk to me, please?
Testing. 1, 2, 3. Wait. Let me get into this. Testing. 1, 2, 3.
All right, here we go. Welcome back to the Game Smash Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Ruin Liberty, and with me is...
Boaz Muhammad Yusuf.
And today we got some stuff. We got Blizzcon. We've got StarCraft 2 going free to play. We got Hanzo and Alex coming to Heroes of the Storm. I got my phone ringing. Oh, it's fucking... Really, it's FaceTime. No, I would not like to FaceTime. This is all going in, by the way. As I was saying.
This is so professional.
Hey, listen, people come to our podcast for the professionalism. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah, Hearthstone. Everyone loves Hearthstone. Kobolds and Catacombs. Overwatch. New map, Blizzard World. A new hero, Moira. Learning, getting stuff. The Reinhardt short, which was pretty dope. Team uniforms revealed for the World Cup. And new Blizzard-themed skins. There's a bunch of new ones, which I think are great. I'm glad for this, because I've been wanting this for a while. And then a bunch of Warcraft news. Basically vanilla WoW was announced, a server. Yeah. And the new expansion, we got some more details, and a really, really, really good cinematic. But yeah, before we get into that, let's talk about what to play this week. Excuse me. So I just kept trucking along in Link to the Past. It's a fun game. Lots of fun. I'm getting a lot better, I think. Because boy, did I suck when I first started playing this game. But now, it's funny because you slowly get upgrades throughout the game. And, like, my sword is level 3, my armor is level 3. It's actually really interesting because there's an enemy in this game that I went, oh, that's an enemy from Breath of the Wild. Or that, I feel like there's an enemy from Breath of the Wild that this took inspiration from, right?
Wait. You're talking about Link to the Past, right?
Yes.
Don't you think you have it backwards there?
No, sorry. I mean, like the other way around. That's what I meant.
I'm like...
They went to the future and stole concepts from future games and brought it back to Link to the Past. That's why it's called Link to the Past, Fawaz. Come on.
You know what? Touche. There you go.
It's a cool little thing that we found. Although I will have to say, it's kind of funny when I'm playing this game. It's like, how the fuck were you supposed to figure out some of this shit? Like, how? Like, there's a dungeon that it's like, okay, how do we get to this dungeon? Well, I've been following the linear path for the most part, and it's like, all right, how do I get to this dungeon? There's a sign that says, this area is literally impossible to get to. Okay. Well, So I'm like, okay, what do I have to do? And I'm like puttering around, exploring, checking places that I haven't explored yet, and I'm like, okay, seriously, what do I have to do? And I'm like, okay. And I'm looking up a guide, eventually. And the guide says, okay, here's the first thing you have to do. First, you have to go to this mini game, right, in the light world, and you talk to this guy, and he gives you a shovel, right? And then you go to the dark world, and then you walk into this guy, and you talk to a fox. And then when you're in that place, you talk to the fox and... Sorry?
I just got a quick question. What did the fox say?
Oh, damn it, I walked into that. Well, the fox, you know what the fox said for us? The fox said, man, I wish I had my flute. I miss everything about my flute. So I'm like, okay. And then you go back to the light world, and you dig in the top left corner to find his buried flute. And then it's like, okay, what do I need this flute for? I'm like, okay, you get the flute, and then you bring it to Koriki Village, and you go find the chicken statue, and you play the flute in front of the chicken statue, and the chicken statue turns into a bird, and then that bird can warp you from place to place. You use the bird to warp to a specific location in the light world, and then you pick up a rock, and that can warp you back into the dark world so that you can enter the dungeon.
Oh, wow. Really?
Only, yeah. It's pretty easy. And so it's kind of interesting to me for me to think it's like if I had no internet back in the day, that's why this game probably is like 50 hours for some people, is because even though there's a lot of this was my mistake. I started to realize that there's certain items that I thought were optional that actually aren't. Like,
Okay.
oh, I don't need the chicken and the flute, right? No, you do. You do actually need the chicken and the flute to beat the game. So, but that being said, it's still really fun. I'm pretty close to the end now. And it is interesting in the sense I find it fascinating that I'm so used to certain Zelda tropes, right? Especially from Ocarina. And some of them really don't apply here. Like, there's usually how it works is you go into a dungeon, right? At least from Ocarina's perspective, you go into a dungeon, you get an item that helps you solve the rest of the dungeon, and you use that item to beat the final boss of that dungeon, right?
Yeah.
In this, that rule doesn't necessarily apply. There's some levels where it's like, okay, you get to the midway point of the dungeon and you find the item, and the item is literally a better tunic, and it gives you more health or more damage resistance, and you don't need it. You could literally finish the dungeon without this and just keep moving on.
Huh.
So it's a weird kind of like it's weird going backwards, you know.
Yeah.
So, but I'm still having a lot of fun with it. But that's basically what I played this week. What about you, Fawaz?
Okay, to keep with the Blizzard theme of this podcast,
Yeah.
I pretty much mostly played Hearthstone this week. I stopped playing Zoo and I started playing what's it called, Jade Druid.
Right.
It's really weird going back to the game and just not knowing anything anymore because there's so many new cards.
That's kind of that's kind of like with me and Magic. You know, I leave and I go, "What the fuck is this?" You know.
Yeah. The decks have all changed, so it's not like before where it's like, okay, I see this hero, so it's gonna be this deck, and then now I have no idea. At least now I'm getting a better idea now. In like a week, I played enough to like have a basic idea, and there's some crazy shit in this game now. The priest Anduin, because they added Death Knights, right? So like every class has like a Jiraxxus, so like you can play it's a card that you play and then you get pretty much a new hero power. You pretty much get a new hero. Every class has that now, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So the priest version is insane. Okay. So what it is that it changes his hero power. So first of all, his battle cry is that you play him and he kills every minion that has an attack over 4 strength, right?
Right.
Standard shit. It's really easy. It's not too hard to play around. But then the hero power, okay, it deals 2 damage. It deals 2 damage to anything, and every time you play a card, you reset the hero power, right?
Oh, jeez.
Okay, it's not too bad. Then you add in this one card. I think it's a legendary, and it's like if you have no duplicates in your deck, your hero power costs 0.
Oof.
You see what the problem is?
I see what the problem is, because that's like infinite combos.
Infinite combos. I mean, I literally just beat one before I started recording this podcast, and the whole time I'm sitting there, I felt like I was losing because like nothing I played stayed. Literally, I was playing like 9 9s and 8 8s, and he was killing them in like one turn. And I'm just sitting there like, what the hell? How is this balanced? How is this fair? But then at the same time, I was paying 1 mana for 9 9, so I can't really like judge. So there's that.
About to say,
because the deck I'm playing is called Jade Druid. Apparently it's one of the most hated decks in the game. So
Yeah.
At least it got nerfed recently, but prior to it getting nerfed, it was one of the most hated decks in the entire game. And I can definitely see why. Because you have this one card. It's like a 1 mana spell that summons a Jade Druid,
Right.
and Jade Druid starts off as a 1/1. But every single time you summon a Jade Druid, they get +1/+1, right?
Right. Okay.
So as the game goes on, you keep summoning more. Now that's not too bad because you have a finite number of cards in your deck. But that 1 mana spell that I mentioned, it has 2 because it's a Druid card. It has 2 options. You can either summon a Jade Druid, or you can shuffle 3 copies of this card back into your deck.
Yeah. So you start filling your deck with Jade Druids.
Yeah, and then by the time you are at the end of the game, you are playing your Jade Druids are like 9, 10, 11 strength. You're paying 1 mana for an 11 strength minion because Handlock wasn't cheap enough. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. So they added this one card that like destroys all the 1 mana cards in a person's deck. So everyone's running that now to counter Jade Druid, and yeah, it's kind of irritating. But yeah, yeah, fun stuff. I'm enjoying it so far. Once again, we'll see how long this lasts, but so far so good. But yeah, we've got
they,
a
they
crap
they
ton of.
pulled they pulled you back in, so gotta give them props for that.
Yeah, I'll give them props for that. They pulled me back in, so yeah, shout outs to Blizzard. I'm having fun, and it's probably gonna last me until January at least.
There you go.
So yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, see, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about this week, so let's get right to it. So BlizzCon was last weekend, and Blizzard started off with a really cool, cute video. It was one of these, because Blizzard's all about like inclusive. They're all about making things inclusive now and having like diverse representation. So the video was pretty cool because you had like people of like all shapes and sizes, just talking about how much they love Blizzard games, right? And it was very on the nose and corny and all that stuff, but it felt genuine. And
Yeah.
the reason why I felt genuine is because like we've lived like a lot of stuff they were saying, even if I didn't experience it, I know it's true. You know, like you look at Blizzard's catalog of games, and through all the criticism, you look at Blizzard's catalog of games. You have Warcraft 3, which was like huge when it launched. You have StarCraft, which is like the father of esports. You've got World of Warcraft. I mean, literally everyone knows about WoW.
Yeah.
Then you have Diablo 1 and 2. Like everybody loves Diablo 1 and 2. Less so 3, but then you have StarCraft 2. Sure, that was a bit of a step down. Then you have Hearthstone, like literally the most popular digital card game in the world right now.
Yeah.
Then you have Overwatch, right? Sure,
Which kind of like Overwatch kind of spearheaded a lot of the hero shooter, like kind of phase, or it's interesting how Blizzard usually comes to a genre and brings a lot to the table every time, like whether it be an RTS or a shooter or like a trading card game. They bring a lot of really like fun, interesting ideas. And I think that's part of the reason why people really like their games.
Yeah. So it was pretty cool, and shout outs to Blizzard. I mean, I've only really played 2 of their games. Hearthstone. No, 3. I played Diablo, but I didn't really get into Diablo because it was on the PS3. I didn't have a lot of PS3 friends, so I couldn't really play it in multiplayer.
Right.
So I just played it by myself, and after I beat it, I didn't really, the whole dungeon running to like min-max your gear wasn't really my thing. But yeah, Hearthstone, I mean, for all the hate I threw onto Hearthstone in the past year, at the end of the day, like, when we first started this podcast, like, Hearthstone was my shit. Literally every week, we'd be like, what did we play this week? I'd be like, I played
some Hearthstone. Yeah.
And Hearthstone. Oh, I played this and Hearthstone, right? Yeah. So yeah, shout out to them for Hearthstone and Overwatch. I mean, like, dudes. Yeah, like literally, Hearthstone was my game of the year for the year it came out, and Overwatch was my game of the year for the year that came out, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
man, shout outs to Blizzard. Ironically enough, the only because like you said, what they do is that they find a genre that's already popular. They don't create any genres. They find a genre that's already popular, and then they just like add some they make it user friendly, right?
Yes, yeah.
Ironically enough, the only genre that they struggled in was the one that they were responsible for creating, and that's MOBAs.
Yeah, that's true. That is kind of true to a certain extent, because MOBA started out as like a Warcraft mod.
Yeah, MOBA started as a Warcraft 3 mob. So I mean, Blizzard didn't invent them.
But it's where that concept started. The idea of like, okay, there's lanes, you move your character from place to place. I think it's not even that they're struggling. I feel that with Heroes of the Storm, it's more that, like, I've actually played Heroes of the Storm and it's fine. But at the same time, it's like, it's kind of like, what it kind of feels like? It's like everyone already has their own MOBA that they play. Like, people have their own game, whether it be Dota or League of Legends, right? And that's the one they put the time.
Smite.
Or Smite, yeah, exactly, or Smite, that they put the time and the effort into. So I feel like by the time Heroes of the Storm came out, it was a little too late. I don't know. But I think it's also that Heroes of the Storm has a weird thing where it's like every map changes the rules. So it's fun. It's a lot of fun for the fact that it's like, hey, every map is different. This is really cool, right? That it's like every map changes the kind of game you're playing. But at the same time, it makes it so that taking it seriously competitively is a little bit, it's not the point, right?
Yeah.
So,
okay, that makes sense.
and I feel like that's part of the thing that kind of kneecapped them with that. Whereas like League, it's the same map, it's the same rules, and then you pick heroes, you pick your champions, right?
Okay.
So I feel like that level of, if you compare to how competitive you compare competitive Hearthstone to competitive League, and you can see a stark difference between the two, like how they're taken. And I think that's the reason why it's been struggling. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, Blizzard continue to support the game. The Heroes of the Storm guy came out. He was pretty funny. So he comes out and he says something, and nobody claps. And then like one person claps in the background because it's Heroes of the Storm and no one cares. And then he's like, "Thanks, mom." And then that I actually found that funny.
That was pretty funny. Yeah,
what?
that's pretty funny. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. They announced 2 new heroes, Hanzo and Alexstrasza. So yeah. Now you can have people insta-lock Hanzo in 2 different...
Yeah, that's how you get people on board.
Yeah, I found it funny. It was called the Double Dragons update. So, Hanzo with his whole Ryuga or whatever he says when he shoots out his dragon arrow. And Alexstrasza, the Queen of Dragons. Well, not the Queen of Dragons, but... No. But yeah. So they announced those 2, and they announced a patch for the game. But I don't, to just reiterate off what I just said, I don't think anyone really cares. So, I'm ready to move on from this. Yeah, did you have anything?
I mean, I was just going to say, I will say this, the Heroes of the Storm 2.0 update is really good.
Okay.
It's a really, really good update, and I think that makes the game a whole lot better. But that being said, it's the problem is that I have nobody who wants to play it with me. And if I had more people that would want to give it a chance, I would probably have a lot of fun playing it with friends. I have a friend at work who plays the shit out of that game, and he loves it, right?
Yeah.
He has a blast because he's got a party. He's got a big group of people who all play the game, right?
Why don't you piggyback off your friend?
Well, because every time I send him a message, he's like, I'm already in a full party. So I'm like, shit. But no, I know what you mean. That's really all I got to say about HOTS. So you want to get into... Well, since you are our resident Hearthstone expert, do you want to talk about Hearthstone?
Okay, before we get to that, though, let's quickly touch on StarCraft 2.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, they did a quick announcement. StarCraft 2 is going free to play. It's going free to play on the 14th. 14th of November, so soon actually, TM. Yeah. And so how it's gonna work is that the full ranked play, full multiplayer is going to be available, including units from all of the 3 expansions. Ooh. You're going to get the Wings of Liberty story mode expansion, the Wings of Liberty campaign for free. And then if you already own the Wings of Liberty campaign, they're gonna get the Heart of the Swarm expansion for free instead. And then also, if you purchase an expansion, you get some exclusive stuff. I think you also get the co-op modes. Ranked mode will be locked until players notch a single unranked or AI win on 10 separate days. Oh shit!
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I think that's meant. You know what that's meant for?
To preserve the quality and integrity of the ranked experience.
That's what that is for. But it's also meant for hey, I'm gonna just dive into rank, and then it's wait, how do I play this game? And you just get annihilated.
Yeah. So the older players will then have what's that word? They have inflated ranks because they're beating up on incompetent people.
Well, that's what happens usually when a game goes from like when there's a free to play, or there's a big update in which it brings a bunch of people who don't know what they're doing. It's just all right, time to raise up.
But overall, man, this is really good by Blizzard, because StarCraft 2 is struggling. Let's keep it real. Obviously, I don't think the StarCraft team is going to get fired anytime soon. But the game, StarCraft 2, like I said earlier, StarCraft is the father of esports, like I said earlier. But it's been forgotten. Like it's the third. It's like it used to be the most popular esports game. Now it's not even the most popular Blizzard game when it
Yeah.
comes to esports. It's not even in the top two or most popular Blizzard's game as far as esports is concerned, right? Might not even
Yeah.
the top three because I think Heroes of the Storm is probably more popular there. Need to double check those numbers.
I was gonna say I don't know. I think honestly, Heroes of the Storm is probably popular nowadays because it's still ongoing. Like it's a free MOBA, and it just has the free market. Because there's people who like I don't pay for games. I only just buy free to play stuff. Like I know people who are like that. So I mean, I'm glad to see this. This is a good move. This is a good move to get people, this is a good way to introduce people who don't know anything about StarCraft or StarCraft 2, and they want to give it a shot and learn about how to play the game. And I'm kind of glad that they did this. I think it's a fun way to get more people on board.
Pretty much exactly what you just said. Like, you think Heroes of the Storm might be more popular because it's free. Well, not anymore. So yeah, I might even give this a try. To be completely honest, I've always watched StarCraft, but I've never really bothered to buy it for a number of reasons. One, because I had to pay for it. But now, honestly, I like. If my laptop can run it, which that's a very big if, but if my laptop can run it, I'll give it a shot. I'll be terrible at it. I'll be absolutely awful at it. But hey,
your laptop could probably run it at low graphics. Like the thing about that game is that it's meant to be. It's really like it's really optimized very well. And if you just change the graphics as far as the quality goes, you'll be able to run it just fine. It's pretty shocking how many options there are for that. So Hearthstone.
So the first thing I realized when watching this presentation is that I actually hate Ben Brode. He comes on stage and he just starts talking, and I just wanted to like fly to LA to choke him, to choke him to death, like just straight up. Anyway,
his manner, what was it? It was, I think you said at one podcast, it was the laugh. It was the laugh that was really bothered you.
I think it's okay. I think the issue is that I blame him for everything that I hate about Hearthstone, which is honestly not fair.
You blame him for the troll shit. And it's funny because I was looking up clips of Ben Brode, and I literally saw a clip of him trolling one of the people demoing one of the Lich King things.
Yeah.
It was basically like, oh, you should pick Hunter for this. He's like, why? Oh, you should just do it. He's like, okay, I don't know anything about this, but sure, whatever. And then he picks Hunter, and it's like the Lich plays a card that's like deal 2 damage for each minion in your deck, and he deals 42 damage turn 1. And he just bursts out laughing. So I'm like, okay, that's it. Yeah, I can get I think I can understand why this guy would tick off Fawaz, because he was probably the guy who greenlit a lot of those troll cards.
You see, that's why, right? Is that that's why I hate him, because I blame him for all that. But honestly, realistically speaking, it's probably not all on him. And and also on the flip side, a lot of things that I like about Hearthstone are probably on him too. But I digress. So there's a new expansion coming to Hearthstone next month, Kobolds and Catacombs. It's supposed to bring back the old school. Well, not bring back. It's supposed to give you the old school vibe of like running through a dungeon. The presentation was really hilarious. I gotta give him credit. The presentation was hilarious. So what they did, right, was that they had like a bunch of it was like one of those pick your own path adventures. So he'd be on stage, and then like 2 images would come up. He'd be like, okay, so we're going through the cave, and we see 2 paths, and then which one do you guys want to take? So then people would scream in the crowd, and they'd pick one. So they got to this one point, and they're like, okay, there is one path with a door that says adventurers welcome, and there's another path that says with a door that says death is guaranteed. Which door do you people want to go through?
Yep.
And everybody yells, the death is guaranteed door. He's like, wow, you people are intense. And then some shit happens.
See, I love that. I love goofy audience participation when it works, like that stuff.
Awkward, like E3
usually it's really awkward at E3, but when it works, it's fantastic. But I feel like I think that particular type of, okay, guys, where do you want to go? And you get the audience to choose where you get to go is always a lot of fun. I remember Until Dawn did that for one of their trailers, and it was really, really fun to watch.
And yeah, then he's like, okay, there's a path here that's like normal, and there's a path here that's literally on fire. Where do you guys want to go? And obviously everyone picks the fire, but I digress.
Yeah.
It was a really good presentation.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple of other things about the expansion: legendary weapons are being added for every class. So a bunch of classes that have never had weapons, like mage, priest, warlock,
Yeah.
are all getting weapons this expansion.
Right.
And it's something I've been waiting for a very long time actually. Then the other thing that they're adding a new single player mode. It's completely free. So it's not even like a free to play mode. It's like literally free. You don't have to pay anything to play it.
Mm-hmm.
And how he described it was like a Hearthstone roguelike. So you started off with a randomly generated deck because Ben Rode just loves the word random.
Yeah.
And then as you beat enemies, you gain cards, and then you start to develop your deck. And then when you lose, you lose, and you just have to start it all over again. So
that sounds like a really interesting idea, actually.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of that. We'll see what kind of rewards you can get from that. But all in all, man, shout outs to the Hearthstone team. Like real talk. Like maybe they've supported this game through all the bullshit. People are still playing this game. It's the community is still growing through all the rubbish. The people who leave the game keep coming back. I came back. Life Coach left. Life Coach is one of the biggest one of the bigger Hearthstone streamers, and one of the best players. He's really, really, really smart player. He left the game for a very long time. He's back now. So shout outs to them. Obviously for all the bullshit, they're obviously doing something right. So this is coming out in December. The usual stuff applies. If you pre-order, you get like a card back or something.
Yeah,
some shit like
kind of
that.
really they might even have me back because that single player mode that kind of interests me. Because if I find like a lot of days when I go onto Hearthstone, if I ever like go back into Hearthstone, it's usually like, all right, time to play. Okay, well this deck's gonna annihilate me.
Yeah, it's tough to get back in. Like me, the only reason why I could get back in so easily was because I had like 9,000 dust when I came back, right?
Yeah.
And even then, the deck that I wanted to build, I can't even build it because I need to complete the one night in Karazhan, which gonna cost me 2,100 gold, and the only way to go, you just can't get that much gold, right? Building gold takes time. It's not like dust where you can just like dust your entire collection. So this is really good for people like that. You can just come back, just play, and then if like the reward is like gold and stuff like that, then this would be a nice way to farm gold. When you haven't been playing the game for a while, or when you're just trying to build up your collection, or when a new expansion is coming out and you're trying to start farming gold. So yeah, shout outs to them. But anyway. On to the meat and potatoes. Like this is our area of expertise.
Yes.
This is what we both play.
Yeah.
So Ben Brode passed it over to Jeff, and the first thing I thought of when they passed it over to Jeff is that, wow, I actually really like Jeff Kaplan. First of all, because he's not Ben Brode, but also he was really funny during this presentation. So okay, first of all, they revealed Blizzard World, and they revealed the map, and honestly, I wasn't even paying attention because I was like, I swear to God, if these dudes don't reveal a new hero.
I liked Blizzard World. I thought Blizzard World was kind of interesting. Like, I liked what was it? I liked the arcade. I liked some of the themed stuff. Oh, I really liked the Hearthstone Tavern. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, there's a Hearthstone Tavern, there's Snacks Ramas, there's like something from literally every Blizzard game there. No, it's awesome. It's a hybrid map, so it's kind of like Kings Row and Hollywood, where you capture the points and then you gotta escort the payload. And then Jeff is like, okay, I realize most of you don't know what a payload is.
Oh God, that took me a second. But oh man.
He's like, look to the right and ask if it's a Yada maid next to you, and he'll tell you what it is. Okay.
Oh man. Oh,
then after
Jeff.
that, he was like, okay, then he revealed the new hero. You know what was really interesting, before I even get into the new hero, what was interesting about this hero is that I think this is the first hero that we've gotten where we literally knew nothing about them going in. Because with Anna, we had the pictures of her on the maps, and then we had people referencing her in like dialogue.
Yeah.
With Sombra, the less said about what we knew about her.
Yeah, Sombra was a whole fucking debacle.
Orisa got leaked, and then Doomfist. I mean, we knew about Doomfist from day one, right? They've been teasing Doomfist since like literally the first trailer. Mm-hmm. So Moira, who's the brand new hero, is the brand new hero, is the first hero that I think we literally knew nothing about going in. Yeah. So just to give you a quick overview of her, she looks amazing. Okay, mm-hmm. I'll get one negative out of the way. I think she's the only hero in the game that I don't actually like how they look, like at all. I do not.
I was like looking. I looked at her design. And I thought, okay, that's fine. Like it wasn't. It looked very average overall to me, and it wasn't like a slight. Honestly, like I kind of put in next to Orisa, if I'm being perfectly honest.
As far as design is concerned.
As far as design goes, I find those two character designs overall relatively average.
Yeah,
but I'm sorry.
I say Orisa wasn't great. I agree with you.
Yeah, and like Doomfist was awesome. Sombra was a really good design. Anna was a fantastic design.
Oh my god! Okay, let's not get into Anna right now.
Yeah. Like we could have a whole podcast of how well they designed Anna's overall look and feel. Okay. But like Moira, I feel like it's fine. Just like I think maybe when I see her in action a little bit more, I might kind of turn around on her. But I feel like she's got the Orisa problem where it's like I'm hope that her character's more interesting than her design. You know?
Yeah. So actually, that's what I was just about to get to. Is that where she differs from Orisa? Is that I've been watching gameplay of her, and she looks so much fun. Mm-hmm. She looks like so much fun. So like Orisa, just a quick digression. The reason, because remember when Orisa was coming out, I spoke about how I'm probably gonna main this character. The reason why I never mained Orisa was because she's just clunky as hell to play, and she feels like a bunch of different ideas stitched together, right?
Yeah.
There's no like real synergy between her abilities. With Moira, okay, so let me break it down for you. So this is how she works. She's got two primary weapons. She's got her healing spray, which works kind of like May's ice gun. It has the highest heal per second in the game. Okay, now first of all, keep in mind all these numbers are in the PTR and all of them are subject to change.
Yeah.
But right now, her healing spray heals for 80 health per second. That's higher than Anna.
Yeah.
Without the need to reload, without the need to aim, and without the possibility of missing, right? Because no, it doesn't have the range, but yeah, it's higher than Anna, higher than Mercy. And it also has an AoE ability. So it's if you have a group of teammates clumped together, you're healing all of them for 80 health per second, right?
Right.
A second now you're like, okay, that sounds kind of overpowered for us. Like, Anna was overpowered. What's stopping her from being overpowered is the fact that she heals based off a resource. Similar to Diva, while she's healing, she has a resource bar that's going down. Once it empties, it takes about 50 seconds to refill. If you want to make it refill faster, that's where her second ability comes in. So her other fire, her second primary fire is like a beam.
Mm-hmm.
It's similar to it's like in a middle ground between Symmetra's beam and Zarya's beam. It doesn't latch on as well as Symmetra's, but it's not 100% tracking like Zarya's, right? I think it deals like 40 damage per second, and it actually heals her for a slight amount while it's dealing damage. But the big thing is that it refills her
healing meter,
her healing resource bar. So she has to bounce between healing and damage if she wants to heal, which is very, very unique. And I don't know if it's gonna work, but I give them credit. In fact, like I'm looking at it, I'm not sure how this is going to work at all, but I give them credit. This is something different. Now, her next ability are the orbs. So similar to her primary fire, these orbs have two different modes. She's got the healing orb and the Discord orb. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
So how the healing orb works is that she fires it out. It's a big ball and it bounces, right? So whatever wall if she fires it at like the ground, it'll hit the ground and then bounce up and latch onto people. And it has like insane burst healings. I saw Moira fighting in May in a hallway, and she throws the ball onto a wall while she's fighting the May. The May freezes her and just like hits her with 2 headshots while she's frozen, and the ball just out heals the headshots.
Wow, damn.
Yeah, so the ball works on a 10-second cooldown, and it heals for either 600 health or does 300 damage. Um, or it lasts for 10 seconds, so whichever happens first. If it heals for 600 HP, then it will dissipate. Otherwise, once 10 seconds pass, it dissipates. Then mix all of this her kits together is her final ability, her teleport. So she's got a straight up teleport. She goes completely invulnerable, and she covers a decent amount of distance, and it's got a relatively short cooldown. It's a 6-second cooldown. So she's the only okay, no, what am I talking about? She's got one of the craziest mobility options for a support in the game. She can literally go invulnerable. So this is going to be very helpful because she's going to have to keep switching between dealing damage and healing. However, she doesn't have range. She's got no range attacks. Okay, she's got the orb, but the orb is a range.
You know what? She's got about as much range as Symmetra.
I was just about to say, it's a ranged attack similar to how Symmetra's orbs are ranged attacks, right?
Yeah.
She looks really, really interesting. I was watching a couple of people play her, and one dude described her as as a difficult to play hero for people who don't have aim, because you've got, as far as healers go, right? You've got the easy to play healers in Mercy and Lucio, and then you've got the hard to play healers in Zen and Ana, right?
Yes.
If you want to play a quote unquote difficult healer but you don't have aim, you're shit out of luck, because Ana and Zen require insane aim.
Right.
So she's gonna be, that's what he said, is that she's going to be like Ana and Zen in terms of how hard she is to play.
Right.
But she doesn't require the it's more of game sense and positioning and maintaining your cooldowns. One to describe that as like the healing version of Zarya, which is probably a bit of a stretch. But there is some truth to, because like Zarya has to block damage to do damage, and she has to deal damage to heal health.
Yeah, it seems what he means by that is that it's not like you have to treat her. You have to understand that she's a very meter management hero to a certain extent. It's not like with Mercy, in which you're going to be pointing your stick and just healing for days. It's not like with Zenyatta, where you throw your orb and you heal up, Roadhog or whatever. You have to kind of like manage your meter. Similar, well, more. I think your comparison to like managing the defense matrix on a diva.
Yeah.
As far as I think that makes a much better comparison, because as far as I can tell, it seems like a lot of this is going to come down. Okay, did I use all my healing just for this push, and now we're at the team fight and go, oh god, now I have no meter left, to base, and it's basically this resource management, which I find interesting because, well, one, I'm just happy that we have a new support.
Oh my god. Oh, sorry, just to add a couple other things that Jeff said. So when after he revealed her, he's like that, I know everybody wanted a new DPS, but you're gonna have to settle for this. Oh, she's also a villain.
Yeah.
So she's the first villainous support in the game. And sorry, you weren't done.
No. I can bounce off that. And I was like, that was the other thing I actually did like about her. This is why I'm kind of hoping that her character is a little more interesting than her design, is that she's the first healer support that is villainous. That I don't know if it's stated yet if she's from Talon or not.
She's with Talon.
She's with Talon.
Like her story mode trailer.
Right.
She got kicked out of Overwatch because she was doing unnatural experiments.
Yeah.
And then it's heavily implied that she is the one who gave Reaper his powers. And then you see her at like a meeting. She's sitting down, and Doomfist is there, Reaper is there, and then there's that one Omnic in a suit that shows up in a couple of the comics. He's also there. But yeah, 100% she's Talon.
Okay, cool. Because I was really curious if whether or not she was or not, and I would love to see cool interactions between her and Mercy.
Her and Mercy are definitely going to have some interactions, because like Mercy disliked the fact that Ana turned her healing into like a weapon, and Ana was using it for good. So she's definitely not going to be feeling what Moira's been doing with the healing. But we just need a Talon tank now. We can have a full Talon team. Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. There you go. Yeah, that would be fun. I love having themed teams and MOBAs and stuff like that. That would be a pretty cool thing.
Yeah. So yeah, to segue, so after they finished that, Reinhardt's voice actor shows up, and it's really hilarious because Reinhardt is like 7 feet tall in the game. Actually, he isn't, but I'm gonna get to that in a second. So it's hilarious that the Reinhardt's voice actor is like, he looks like he's 5'6" or something like that. So anyway, he shows up and he gives a really heartfelt story about how Overwatch pretty much changed his life. The getting the job voicing Reinhardt has just like turned his life around, and he almost started crying on stage, which was pretty crazy. And then they revealed the brand new shorts, and it's pretty dope. Now, once again, similar like I did with Moira, let's get the bat out of the way first. I was kind of disappointed, similar to the May short, that this didn't move the story forward, because I was like, okay, they revealed Moira, the new Talon person, they revealed Doomfist, so maybe we're gonna get a Talon focused short. No.
You could say that there's a little bit of story progression at the end, in the sense where it's like, all right, Reinhardt clearly got the message from Winston, and it's more him about reassuring. I forget her name. Who's the girl?
Yeah, so do I. She's Torbjorn's
Torbjorn's daughter, right?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, okay. You should be kind of like talking to her and saying like, no, I have to go, and like this is who I am. And so there's a little bit of story progression, but this short was great. This short was
a great short. It was a great short.
Yeah. Reinhardt's got beautiful hair.
Oh my god. Literally, because for those of you that don't know, there's a voice line in the game where Farah says, Reinhardt, I used to have a poster of you on my wall as a child, and he's like, I remember the poster. My hair looked amazing, right?
Yeah.
Literally, as the short started, and I saw his long flowing beard, I was like, oh my god, his hair actually was amazing.
It's kind of funny because his hair reminds me a lot of like Prince Charming from Shrek 2.
He looks like a typical like Warcraft hero. He looks like Arthas. He looks like a typical like old school knight hero. Yeah. But yeah, what the short focuses on, because we haven't actually spoken about that yet, is it shows how Reinhardt matured. So when he was younger, he was a bit of an asshole and a terrible tank. It's funny because watching that video, this is what the Reinhardts I play with look like. Maybe this short will teach them a lesson. Because he'd be charging it and leaving his team behind.
There's a line where it's like, relax, they're fine. And then you cuts to those two guys, where's Reinhardt?
He's like, oh my, and then, his mentor is like, Reinhardt, wait for your team. He's like, no, they only slow me down. And I'm like, oh my god, this is so perfect. And then, his master sacrifices his life to save Reinhardt.
Okay. Can I quickly talk about that? Because my favorite part of the entire thing was when he picked up the fucking other hammer, and I'm like, oh, please tell me he's gonna dual wield them. And he does that the best thing about that shot is that it's all three of the jets from two hammers and the armor itself all activating at the same time as he charged. It's the best. And this is what I really like this short, is that I just love seeing the Crusaders like just fighting in general. Everything about the Crusaders in Overwatch is the coolest to me.
Yeah, the Crusaders are bad. The Crusaders are badass. But what I realized from this short, right, was that the Crusaders wear armor. That's why they're so big. So I just always assumed that Reinhardt was gigantic, right? Because we only ever see his head. But he's actually a regular-sized guy in a suit. So, yeah, that's good to know. But, yeah, it's a really good short. We had a Reinhardt, Bastion, and a cameo from Orisa in it.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. Although, one thing I will say... sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but one thing I will say I thought was a little bit weird was... I guess because they had to make the blood accurate... I'm talking about the wound he takes in the trailer.
Yeah.
I felt it was weird because if he actually got cut like that, it would not look like that at all. It would be... Because it looks like it's like he gets hit and somebody just painted a scar over his face. And I'm like, really?
Yeah, so they also show how Reinhardt got his scar over his left eye.
Yeah, left eye.
Little. So on the PTR right now, there's a patch, and the patch has added Moira. It's added the nerf to Mercy, Rip Mercy, and it's added the Ana buff. But one little thing that it added was also so at the end of the short, there's a pin because okay, so at the start of the short, Reinhardt is talking to his mentor, and his mentor is like that he's going to join Overwatch because he wants to help the world, and Reinhardt is like that. No, we're Crusaders, and it's a job for life. So like his master dying was part of the reason why he ended up joining Overwatch. And before he died, he gave him the Overwatch pin. At the end of the short, Reinhardt goes to like the place in Eichenwald where his master's armor is. And just a quick note: when he after he killed all the bastions and he sat down in the chair and his head went over and his blue eyes like went black. Honestly, I got flashback from the 1986 Transformers movie when Optimus. Damn it, not again. But at the end of the short, Reinhardt puts the pin share where his master's armor is.
Yeah.
It's in the game now. If you're not on consoles yet, but if you're on the PTR and you go to Eichenwald, and he's right there on Eichenwald, right? So he dies and he's going through his teams. You know how you can skip through your teams to see what your teammates are all doing?
Yeah.
Tanner?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So he goes through his Reinhardt, and his Reinhardt is just kneeling in front of the armor. He's not even helping anyone. He's just kneeling in front of the armor in the middle of the game. And dude is like that. I literally cried when I saw.
Oh, that's the best. But yeah, no. Overall, I think the short was pretty good. And speaking of cool things, we should talk about the Overwatch skins that they announced.
Yes.
The team uniforms in particular.
Okay, so first of all, they added they made an upgrade to the spectator client. So for those that don't know and for those interested, the Overwatch League is officially starting on the 4th of January. And the teams have all been revealed. I'm not going to go through them here because it will mean absolutely nothing to anyone listening. But what's really cool is that every single team is going to have its own team uniform. So when you are watching a game, every character on that team. So, for example, the Seoul Dynasty team, that is the Seoul team. That's the Korean team. Their uniform is black and gold. So whenever you're watching a match and Seoul Dynasty is in there, every character is going to be in black and gold. The LA Gladiators are purple and something else. So they added a new thing to the game where they debuted it at the World Cup, and all the teams, the Canadian team was wearing red. Speaking of which, the Canadian team, should I go into spoilers? No, the Canadian team did really well at Overworld's World Cup. If you have some time, I recommend checking it out. Then in addition, this won't affect like regular people because in regular games we have the red and the blue highlights, so it's easy to tell who's who. But in like actual like competitive games, sometimes things can get very muddy. So this was just put in to fix that. The other thing is that they added new skins to standard loot boxes. So these skins are not tied to any events. They are not going to cost 3 times what the regular skin cost, and they are going to be available forever. And the skins are all themed, all revolve around Blizzard theme. So Orisa got Immortal from StarCraft. So she got an Immortal skin. Torbjorn, 20. I'll give you $20 if you can guess what Torbjorn got. He got a dwarf skin from Hearthstone. Magni Bronzebeard. Hearthstone alternate. I said Hearthstone. A dwarf skin from Warcraft. Magni Bronzebeard. What's her name? Widowmaker got
a Nova skin.
Nova skin. You could actually hear people gasp when they revealed the skin. It makes so much sense.
It makes so much sense. I'm surprised they haven't done it sooner.
Yeah. But she got a Nova skin. Doomfist got a really cool. What's his name again? I forget his name, but he's some orc from Warcraft. He has like a steel jaw. He got that skin. Zarya got a barbarian skin from Diablo,
Yep.
and Roadhog got Butcher skin also
Yep.
from
From Diablo.
Diablo. So these skins are all coming sometime next year.
Mm-hmm.
So look forward to them. And like I already said, they're going to be in. Oh wait. There's a couple others that I forgot about. So Reinhardt got a young Reinhardt skin
Yeah.
from the short, and May got her skin from the other short, the Gamescom short.
Yeah, the Rise and Shine.
Yeah, the Rise and Shine skin. Blackhand. That's the name of the dude. That's the Doomfist skin. This skin is actually amazing. This
Yeah,
Doomfist
it's
skin.
really good.
Yeah, a bunch of really really good skins here, and yeah, they're all going to be permanent. They're all going to be permanent additions to the loot boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all really good. I don't really like what they did with the hair with the Zarya skin. It looks like a wig. Um, but other than that, all the other skins look amazing,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, they debuted them on Blizzard World, which is pretty fitting because
Right.
they're all Blizzard themed skins.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I mean, like, realistically, I like seeing Blizzard do this because I think that's one of the biggest problems is with how skins have been released for the game is that they're all tied to events. Like,
yeah,
most of them are tied to either, like, the Summer Games, the Halloween event, the December event, the Chinese New Year, and the Anniversary event, and that's where most of the new skins are coming from. So unless you're around and playing the game during that event, you're going to be kind of shit out of luck as far as
yeah.
getting new skins goes. So I'm glad that they're doing this. This is a very, very nice thing for them to do.
And hopefully that they do more of this in the future.
Exactly.
But yeah, to segue off of that, yeah, to wrap things up, Blizzard also showed off some new stuff with Warcraft.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing that they showed was actually really, really interesting, and the way he built it up was funny. So the truth is, he comes up on stage and he's like, okay, so I want to talk about ice cream, right? And I'm like, huh?
What?
He's like, yeah, I like chocolate, I like strawberry. He says a bunch of stuff, and he's like that. But a lot of you, I think, really like vanilla, and everybody just loses their mind.
Shit, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So yeah, for those that didn't get the reference, they are releasing vanilla servers for World of Warcraft. So none of the patches, none of the updates, none of the changes that came with all the expansions are going to be added. It's going to be like WoW, like it was in 2004 when the game
Pretty
first
much.
launched.
Yeah.
They said that this is going to take a while. They were like, don't expect it anytime soon. I don't know if anytime soon means within the next year, or if it means we're looking at a Cyberpunk 2077 situation here. So
yeah. I mean, you know what? I want it to be when there's going to be a trailer, and it's the cyberpunk part of like the title is going to slowly fade out, and then it says "coming 2027" fades in. That's what I want.
Don't even joke like that.
Listen. That's what's going to happen, Fawaz. That is literally what's going to happen. You might as well just accept it now.
I probably should just accept it. But yeah, it's this is pretty cool. A lot of people are apparently excited for this. I never played WoW, so this means absolutely nothing to me. But a lot of people are excited for this, and they also said that they don't want this to just be like this is gonna be a recreation, but they also want it to not be. They want to recreate the experience, but not the They want to recreate the launch experience, but not the launch servers, because assuming there was a lot of issues at launch, so they don't want to bring that.
They want to bring back the nostalgia with stable servers. That's what they wanted.
Yes, exactly. So that's pretty cool. It's funny. When they first announced this, I was thinking, if Hearthstone did this, I'd be in there. But in reality, that I wouldn't be, because for me, as far as decks and stuff like that, Hearthstone peaked for me with goblins versus gnomes, right?
Right. Yeah.
The vanilla Hearthstone was okay, but like thinking back to it, like Handlock was terrible. Okay, it was really good, but it was not. I didn't like playing it back then because it was just about like an OTK combo.
Right.
It was a lot of OTKs because of Leroy. So at first I was like, oh my god, if Hearthstone did this, I'd be excited. But in reality, that's not true. I probably wouldn't. I played like once or twice, and I wouldn't play it again. But yeah,
I think it's more exciting. Hearthstone is. I think Hearthstone's kind of a bad example for this because it's only been like a couple years, right? I think what's drawing so many people to this is that this is very nostalgic. This is nostalgic for the
13
people,
years.
for like the people who started playing at launch, right? It's like, oh man, remember back in the day when this was like that in Warcraft and so on. So it's like I feel like that's what it's meant for. So
yeah.
I'm glad that it's going to be an option. It's probably the most interesting thing about it. Like it's just. I feel like people understand that nostalgia sells. Like nostalgia sells quite a lot.
Nostalgia is what Disney is doing with their Disney Renaissance movies.
Yeah.
But I digress. I know obviously they announced a new expansion, Battle for Azeroth. I'll be honest. The expansion, the story behind the expansion makes me a little sad because one of my favorite elements of Warcraft 3 story was the fact that the Horde and the Alliance put aside their differences. And they put aside their differences. So the fact that they're going back to being at each other's throats in this makes me a little sad. But it's the standard stuff. New areas, new areas, increase the level cap, all that stuff. But in addition, they also showed the intro cinematic. So normally the intro cinematic comes out like a little bit before the actual game expansion itself comes out, but this time they decided to debut it at Blizzcon, and it's pretty dope.
Yeah,
it's not as good as Rise of the Lich King, but I don't think they're ever going to top that at this point. But
it's pretty dope, even considering I know nothing, like barely anything about Warcraft lore, and I could tell there was some cool shit going on. Like it's great to watch this trailer with audience reactions, because when Sylvanas goes and just yells the Horde, everyone loses their shit, and then when I don't even know his name, the other guy goes for the Alliance. Everyone loses.
How do you not know Anduin? He's a priest hero in Hearthstone, dude.
That's Anduin, really?
That's Anduin, yeah. He looks like Brad Pitt in that trailer, but yeah, that's Anduin.
Huh. He looked familiar, but I wasn't sure,
Yeah.
Listen, I don't know shit about Warcraft lore. I'm sorry, man.
His father, so Varian used to be the leader of the Alliance, but he died during the Legion cinematic.
Right.
And I think it was because of a betrayal by Sylvanas, so I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back, and now the Alliance are like, never trust, like to hell with the Horde, and the Horde is like to hell with the Alliance. But yeah, the trailer is hype, man. Like, that moment, I'm watching the trailer, I'm like, okay, this isn't bad. Then Sylvana, she like jumps off, she kills a couple of people, she lands, the Horde is losing, she lands, and she's just like, for the Horde, oh my god, that shit like shivers down my spine straight up.
Yeah, that's great.
Then Anduin, does like a 5-man res, and he brings most of his team back to life.
Yeah.
And it's like for the Alliance, and it's like, okay, we're going back to old school Warcraft, because that was how it started, right? It was orcs versus. I think the first Warcraft is called Warcraft Orcs versus Humans. So that's how it started, right? And then they introduced the Burning Legion in Warcraft 3, and ever since then, because the Burning Legion has existed, the Horde and the Alliance have kind of had to work together to deal with the Burning Legion.
Right.
But I don't know if the Burning Legion's done yet. He mentioned something about Sargeras, who is like the leader of the Burning Legion. He's pretty much the main bad guy in Warcraft.
Right.
Other than the old gods, he is like the main bad guy in Warcraft. So I don't know if he mentioned Sargeras in the presentation. So if they're finally going to introduce Sargeras, I'm probably not pronouncing his name right, also. But yeah, if they're finally going to introduce him, that's going to be a big deal. So we'll see. But yeah, no release date, obviously. This is Blizzard we're talking about. But it was a really good cinematic, and
Yeah, it was really, really good. Even with my very little knowledge of Warcraft, I was like, damn, that was really, really good and really, really well paced. And overall, really, really good stuff. So I think overall BlizzCon was pretty good this year. I think Sorry?
I think BlizzCon was pretty good. And there's one thing I wanted to touch on, and it's to go back to the original trailer, the one talking about Blizzard. And I feel like part of the reason why people love Blizzard so much is because Blizzard, they feel like they feel like normal people. Okay, so I shit on Ben Brode a lot, right? But like in reality, you look at Ben Brode, you look at Jeff Kaplan, you look at all these dudes, and they just look like us, They
They look like
like
the
you could
community. Yeah.
yeah, they look like they're part of the community. A lot of them actually play video games because I remember I think it was not this E3, definitely not this E3 because I didn't watch EA's press conference this E3. I think it was like 2 years ago I was watching EA's press conference and one guy was joking about how everybody that was presenting at the press conference looked like a villain out of a Bond movie, right?
Right.
Because they all had their suits on and they all looked
It was like
like
you could tell that when you watch an EA press conference, you can tell that half the people who are talking right now, they don't actually play games. They're not gamers and they're not a huge part of the gaming culture. They're
no.
probably more part of the business in the gaming culture more than anything. And that's
Yeah.
where there's this huge disconnect. And whereas when you're at like these Blizzard events, you can tell that the people making, these games, they're huge gamers and they appreciate the communities and they appreciate the culture. So
Yeah.
like it was really fun. It was really fun watching I don't know when they showed this, but there was a really cool sit down with Jeff and some other guy and they showed like the behind the scenes of Overwatch, like just the testing and stuff like that. And that was really, really cool where he's joking about like, hey, back then we didn't really have a good image for the payload, so we just had this shitty truck. And somebody put a Doge image on the truck just for lulz, and it's like you could tell that there's some like humanity to that. There's some like there's some just like, hey, this is how a game is made. You test and you try things and then occasionally you put something goofy in. And I think that sort of sells what Blizzard is to a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly. And like because Blizzard started off, like most game development companies, started off like three guys in a garage, right? And despite the fact that they're a multi-billion-dollar company now with like, all these massive franchises, they still kind of feel like just, a couple of guys in a garage. A very, very big and very expensive garage now. But, So yeah, like it was a fun BlizzCon. No Warcraft 4, so next year for sure.
Next year for sure. Are you expecting? Oh, and you know what? Then they're going to say, and now let's pass it off to CD Projekt Red with their new title. And then we're gonna pass it off to Gabe Newell with his new title.
I knew that was where you were going with this.
But anyway, we got a question of the day from the lovely J Streets.
Shout outs to J Streets.
And J Streets. Ooh, yeah, you want to say it? I guess you were gonna take it.
My bad. Yeah. Should Microsoft enter the handheld market? Why or why not? Want to take a first swing at this?
Sure. I think it'd be nice if Microsoft made a game. I think that'd be the first thing on their to-do list would be nice. As far as like entering the handheld market, I honestly don't think it would be a good idea. I honestly don't, because I feel that like Sony tried to branch into the handheld market and they failed, clearly, right? They failed horribly. And the problem with the handheld market is that a lot of people, they play on their phones. Like this is how they play. They just pull their phone and they play their stupid phone games, right? So a lot of the all these different competitors over like, man, we've got the best handheld console ever, right? That's kind of disappeared because more people, they just kind of pull out their phones and that's what they do on the bus or on a trip or so on and so forth, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you think about how the handheld market is right now, Nintendo pretty much has it on lock. They have the 3DS and they have the Switch, which is technically it's not fully part of that market, but it's dipped into that as well because it's a console that you can bring on the go. And I feel like Nintendo at the moment is leading the charge. And seeing that Sony tried to dip in the pool as well, and it just kind of backfired on them, I don't think Microsoft would be able to. If like the Microsoft came up with like their version of the Vita, essentially, like even Sony pushing some exclusive titles for that wasn't even enough, and Microsoft has enough problems pushing any exclusive titles at all. So God knows how that would be. And I honestly I don't see them being able to bring something to the handheld market that would be even remotely interesting or intriguing at all. I think they would probably just do what Sony tried to do, and probably just be as equally as effective. It would probably come out for like a year, and then after a year had passed and nobody bought the damn thing, they would just kind of brush it off to the side. So no, in short term, no, I don't think Microsoft should enter the handheld market. I think what Microsoft should actually do is start pushing really cool new exclusives, because literally, I talked to my friend about this. So you got an Xbox One? Yeah, cool. So what exclusives do you got? And he's like, I was like, yeah. But anyway, what's your answer for us?
I mean, honestly, pretty much the same thing. No, it's a sinking ship. The handheld market is dying. I mean, the DS is selling well, but outside of that, I mean, the handheld market has never been flourishing because there's only ever been two, and whatever Nintendo handheld has been out has been we're not even two, 1.5. It's been Nintendo, and then the PSP. Everybody else that's tried has failed. The N-Gage. The less said about the N-Gage, the better. So I mean, but yeah. So for me, I'm like, why? Why would Microsoft invest the money into a market that does not look that looks like it's not even dying? Looks like it's pretty much on its last legs right now. If they were going to invest in the handheld market, I would suggest investing in in cell phone games, because that's where it's at now. That's where the market has moved to, understandably. When you've got your cell phone, you've got your wallet, I mean, for God's sake, MP3s are dying. MP3s. So
God, when was the last time I saw an MP3 player? Just a basic MP3 player.
Yeah, I mean, even iPods are being phased out, man. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. What's happening? What's happening to the handheld? What phones are doing? How much phones are changing the world? So no. I don't think that's a good idea at all. To then piggyback off of that, yes, I completely agree with you. When the Xbox One was announced in 2013, I was genuinely not sure which one to buy, an Xbox One or a PS4. At the time, the Xbox One, believe it or not, had more first-party games. They launched with Dead Rising 3, Sunset Overdrive. They also had that terrible Knights game. What was it called again?
Oh, Rise, Son of Rome.
Yeah, Rise, Son of Rome. I mean, the game was shit. Okay, shit's a strong word, but the game wasn't great. But they were trying different things, and I applauded them.
It's funny because I was reading up a bit about that, and that game probably could have been a whole lot worse because it was originally designed to be a Kinect-only title.
Yeah, I remember.
And I saw that, and I was like, "Oh my god, that would have been a fucking clusterfuck."
Yeah, dodged the bullet there. Then they announced a bunch of other games. They announced Crackdown 3. They announced Scalebound, rest in peace. They announced the Phantom Dust remake, and all those games, all the games that they announced have either underperformed, either flopped, got cancelled, or keep getting delayed. Look at 2017. What have they actually released this year? Forza Motorsport 7, and that one game with Iceman. The one with the freezing time. I forget what it's called.
Fuck.
Yeah, the one that was supposed to. Okay, I mean, you know what I'm talking about.
Is that the Quantum Theory? Quantum Break?
Yeah, Quantum Theory or Quantum Theory. Yeah.
And it's but that's what I'm saying is that in the sense where it's their focus should not be the handheld market. They really shouldn't. And it's even if they were to answer Quantum Break, yeah, okay. I knew it was one or the other. Quantum Theory is a completely different game.
No, it came out last year. Oh my god.
Yeah. So yeah, they really haven't done anything realistically.
They haven't released anything this year. You know, so yeah, like you really shouldn't be focusing. You shouldn't be looking for ways to spread yourself even thinner.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you should double down on the Xbox One. The idea of marketing the Xbox One as a place to play third-party games. It's like really Microsoft. What upsets me the most about this is that they didn't learn. They didn't learn from the Xbox 360. Say what you want about Sony. I shit on Sony all day. I shit on
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo all day, all day. But you see them learning. Sony saw the mistakes they made with the PS3 and they didn't replicate them with the PS4. Nintendo
Mm-hmm.
saw the mistakes they made with the Wii U, and here they are with the Switch,
Switch.
probably the most successful console since the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
And you know, Microsoft, they did it with the Xbox. They actually didn't do it that bad with the Xbox. They did it with the Xbox 360.
Mm-hmm.
It bit them in the butt towards the end of the 360's lifespan when the
Mm-hmm.
sales flatlined while Sony caught up to them. So I was like, okay, there's no way you're gonna do that again with this. Nope. Here
Yep.
they are,
Yep.
just re-releasing Forza, Halo, and they don't even have the benefits of like exclusive deals with like Call of Duty and stuff like that anymore.
Yeah.
Like there was a point where I told my friend, I was like, it looks like they're packing it up, seriously, because it actually just looks like they phoned it in. They're like, okay, let's just get through this, and then this will be our last console cycle, because it just does not look like they're trying at all.
I think it's kind of, yeah, I think you kind of said it in the sense where it's like a lot of it is third party, and it's like it's all the Xbox bros and stuff like that really like
Mm-hmm.
keep things going. And I feel like what Microsoft needs to do is that I don't know, maybe they need to just focus, because I think the other problem I have is that, okay, guess what? A lot of the games that are on the Xbox One are also on the PC. So I don't have that problem anymore. Now that I have an upgraded PC, I pretty much have access to all the games that Microsoft tries to show as, oh, these are great games that you can only get on the Xbox One, but also the PC. Just forget that second part, right? And
Yeah.
it's like the fact that that's always there is an issue. And hell, half of the games that start out on the Xbox One and PC, they end up to the PS4 anyway later down the
Yeah.
line. Like, think like Inside's a good example. That was being pushed as like an Xbox only exclusive by the people who made Limbo, and then like a couple weeks later, released for the PS4.
Surprise.
Surprise, released for the PS4, and it's like, anyway, but yeah, to get back to the question, I don't think Microsoft would gain anything from dipping into the handheld market, especially since, yes, it's getting killed off by phones, and currently there's only really one king at the handheld market as other than the phones, and it's Nintendo. The Nintendo has the 3DS, Nintendo has the Switch, which is still kind of dipping into it. Like, they have a full, it's basically every person I talk to about that plays, like, with handheld consoles, it's always a Nintendo product. Like, I can't think of many people who still have a Vita. I can't think of many people who You know what? I will say this. If Microsoft comes out with the Zune 2, then maybe, just maybe, they can break into this market. I think that's what they need to do. The Zune. I love the Zune so much. It's my favorite thing in the world. But anyway, great question, J Streets. But if you got a question for us, don't forget to leave it in the comment section, and we'll make sure to answer it in the next podcast. And as always, this is your host, William Rudy, and
Oh, as Muhammad Yusuf.
we'll see you guys next time. Take care.